now Dubai has entered the market, so you will have to say Dubai is on the case. We must bring these matters under our regulatory regime. We must toughen that regime. The CFTC has dragged its heels. Its May 29th release is evidence that it's dragged its heels. The FTC must be encouraged to quickly move into this area and do the proper investigation as FERC did in the natural gas markets. If we do not do anything, we may be in a bubble, but it's an iron bubble. And it's an iron bubble because these investment banks and these hedge funds, knowing they control the price of these products through the futures markets because they manipulate it upwards, are buying the underlying commodity. The largest holder of heating oil in New England is Morgan Stanley. The bubble will be hard to burst as long as Mr. Soros' theory that they're not going to exchange that heating oil for U.S. dollars because they're driving the price of heating oil up, and that forces the U.S. dollar down. It's a very bad trade. There is mini hoarding going on in New England and all over this country by investment banks and hedge funds that are holding energy products that can be stored, will not release them because it's a bad trade. They can drive those commodity prices up and downgrade the U.S. dollar. They don't want to take dollars for those products. I'd be happy to answer any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Gary Rom, President of Inland Oil Company. And speaking on behalf of the Petroleum Marketers Association, I would like to extend a special welcome to Mr. Rom since he comes from Ephrata, Washington. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and the members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to provide some insight on this extreme volatility and record-setting prices that we've seen in the recent months in the energy commodity markets. I am with and representing the Petroleum Marketers Association of America. We're a national federation of 46 states and regional associations representing 8,000 independent fuel marketers and almost all the heating oil dealers in the nation. Excessive speculation on energy trading facilities is the fuel that is driving this runaway train in crude oil prices today. Excessive speculation is being driven by what Michael Masters of Masters Capital Management refers to as index speculators, as compared to traditional speculators. Index speculators are institutional investors, such as corporate and government pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, and university endowments. These players are sometimes referred to as non-commercial or non-physical players. Index speculators have driven the demand, which does not correlate to the current physical demand. Even though the rate of increase in China's demand, and in fact, the world's rate of increase in demand has slowed in recent years. The price of crude oil has almost tripled in that same period. Isn't it interesting that the largest increase in demand has been speculative trading, which has increased 3 times in recent years? Is the run-up in prices due to physical demand or speculative demand created by these indexes? This rise in crude oil prices, which has reached $135 a barrel recently, has dragged with it every single refined petroleum product, especially heating oil and diesel. And in May, heating oil and diesel went up as much as 80 cents a gallon in that 1 month. This price spike occurred while heating oil inventories remained at or near their 5-year average. While energy commodities continue to skyrocket, petroleum marketers and consumers are forced to pay excessively high energy prices. We have come to the conclusion that excessive speculation on energy commodity markets has driven up the price of crude oil and, consequently, all refined petroleum products, without the supply and demand fundamentals to justify the recent run-up. Large purchases of crude oil futures contracts by speculators have, in consequence, created an additional demand for oil, which drives up the price of the oil futures deliveries. The The October 2007 GAO report determined that futures market speculation could have an upward effect on prices. However, it was hard to quantify because not all the numbers are reported to regulatory agencies. We must have full transparency. Speculators who have no contact with the physical commodity are trading on over-the-counter markets and foreign boards of trade, which, due to a series of legal and administrative loopholes, are virtually opaque. Because these are unregulated trades or dark markets, there is no record. If these trades were manipulative in nature, it would increase the cost to the American consumer. It would increase the cost of the commodity sold. Such trading would leave no public data, and there would be no fingerprints. By passing the Farm Bill, you helped to take a first step in bringing transparency to the energy trading markets. But the CFTC has provided no action letters to foreign boards of trade, which subsequently now does not give CFTC regulatory authority over those trading platforms. Why would the CFTC not want authority over the trading platforms operating within the United States and trading U.S. delivered commodities? We suggest the Congress and administration consider closing the Administrative Foreign Board of Trade's loophole by reading the CFTC no action letters to oversee energy trading platforms, raising margin requirements or the necessary collateral for non-commercial entities or so-called non-physical players. Currently, margins in the futures trading are as low as 3% for some contracts. To buy U.S. equities, margin requirements are a minimum of 50%, requiring non-commercial traders to have the ability to take some physical delivery of the product, to provide adequate funding for the CFTC so that they can do their job. PMA strongly supports the free exchange of commodity futures on an open, well-regulated, and transparent exchanges that are subject to the rules of law and accountability. Reliable futures markets are crucial to the entire petroleum industry. Let's make sure that these markets are competitively driven by the fundamentals of supply and demand. We and our customers need our public officials, including the Congress and the CFTC, to take a stand against the loopholes that are artificially inflating energy prices. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, and I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Ram. Fourth, we'll hear from Leanne Watson, Deputy Director of Division of Investigation, Office of Enforcement for the Federal Regulatory Energy Commission. And Ms. Watson helped develop and implement FERC's Anti-Manipulation Authority, which is the same authority that we have given to Federal Trade Commission as it relates to physical oil markets. Ms. Watson, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. First, let me apologize for my voice. I woke up with a cold this morning, so bear with me.
Thank you. If you could just pull the microphone a little closer, and that'll help
How's
you
this?
and less
a little
strain
better?
in your voice. Yeah,
thank you. Madam Chair and members of the committee, I thank you for inviting me to testify today. I am here today to discuss the experience of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, in implementing the statutory authority granted to FERC in the Energy Policy Act of 2005, or as I will refer to it as EPACT, to prohibit manipulation in wholesale electric energy and natural gas markets. In particular, this experience may be useful as it may relate to similar authority recently granted to the Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC. I note, however, that I could not address market manipulation in the oil and petroleum products markets. FERC does not have jurisdiction over those markets or expertise in how such manipulation might be prevented by the FTC. I also note that I appear before you today as a staff witness, and I do not represent the views of the Commission or any individual commission. EPACT addressed new provisions in both the Federal Power Act and the Natural Gas Act to prohibit manipulation in FERC jurisdictional markets for wholesale sales of electric energy and natural gas and electric transmission and natural gas transportation.